Hi, everyone. Good monad. And yeah, let's just get started. And yeah, my name is Lulu, and I'm with the Greater China team at Monad Foundation. And today I'll be moderating the panel and also have some output there, here and there. And yeah, I think, guests, you can just introduce yourself, yeah, one by one. And let's start with Seg. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Seg from Sonic Labs. We're formerly Phantom, one of the oldest EVM chains after Ethereum. We just recently had a rebrand and a new chain launch a month and a half or so ago, and massive technical upgrades, economic upgrades, and other things like that. So looking forward to talking about scaling.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcus. I'm the head of ecosystem growth at 98. For some background, we are veteran builders in 2017. We built our flagship product, which is Coin88 wallet. It's a non-chain, multi-chain, non-custodial wallet, have 10 million users. And in 2023, we stepped in to take the lead of growing for Tomo Chain, which is now Viction, and been following like the whole ecosystem growth for it. So Viction is the EVM compatible L1. It's focusing on supporting builders to grow the next billion user app. Glad to be here today.
Hi everyone, I'm Tay. I'm founder of CreditCoin. CreditCoin started as an app chain focusing on credit lending. We deployed $100 million in US dollar value to 2 million people, and we converted it into EVM compatible L1, and now we are soon releasing a attestation layer which allows you to read information from other blockchains and also write information on another blockchain, which is related to today's topic. And we are building multiple projects on top of this CreditCoin L1 to enhance our ecosystem.
Hi, my name is Laura. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Mega East, a real-time blockchain with 100,000 TPS.
Great, great. Yeah, I think we have different audiences here. We have like general purpose, like layer 1 and layer 2, and we have sort of like specialized purpose-built infrastructure here today. And yeah, I think since the guests have introduced like where the chain came from, what's the story, a little bit background. So my next question, because today we're talking about like scaling. So what is the tech design innovations for your like infrastructure? And yeah, probably this time we can start with Laura, please.
Sure. So long story short, if you go to our research paper in the website, I think some keywords you can cut will include parallel EVM, include state sync, as well as how to ensure there's 100,000 TPS delivered, but without have a super high requirement on the hardware. And that's why we got something called node specification. We do believe that in order to further efficient the key infrastructure in this space, it is about we have dedicated nodes doing the same thing. It's doing different stuff. For example, you shouldn't have every RPC provider run full node for scalability in order to achieve at least 10,000 RPS. So that is some key highlights about Mega East infrastructure.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question again?
What is the like tech design for your infrastructure that helps with the scaling?
So when we built CreditCoin to EVM compatible L1, we added this feature called attestation, which is not focusing on optimizing for TPS ourselves, but allowing us to utilize other fast chains like Mega East, for example, or Solana, so you name it, because we are allowed to read information from other blockchains. So if you need a high TPS transaction for a certain application, you process that in the TPS focused chain, and you can use multiple blockchains that's focusing on different utility, and then you commit back to our chain asynchronously when needed. So that is how we try to achieve the efficiency without having to build everything ourselves.
For us at 98 and Victions, we excel at user onboarding, given like our past experience with 10 million users onboarded on our wallet. So user onboarding experience has been our optimization, our focus. So when we work at Viction, technology that we develop toward this, it would be zero gas features, where we see that the daily life of users, they don't, for the user perspective, they shouldn't pay for the gas. So we did implement a paymaster need level on our chain level. So any applications and token standard they develop with these technologies, the user experience of their application will be seamless. The user pay stablecoin to merchants without having to purchase the gas token to pay for it, because the developer will be sponsored. Right? So that's the special thing about our chain, and have been our focus on optimizing the user experience.
Yeah, Sonic took a different approach to scaling, and part of our chain upgrade was the improvements we made to the infrastructure stack that's required to run a EVM layer 1. And this is not a knock on any other protocol, but this is sort of just, I guess, a technical approach difference that we took. We tested parallelization. We have a full R&D team led by Professor Bernard Schultz out of University of Sydney. And they're very highly specialized in specifically distributed systems. And we tested parallelization, and it's sort of, what we found was the EVM stack itself needed optimizations, and those optimizations would yield way better results than just taking what exists and just parallelizing it. So if you think about the analogy of cooks in a kitchen, if you have a kitchen and your stove is sort of faulty, or other equipment is faulty, you just add more cooks. That's sort of the approach that a lot of the projects that are pursuing parallelization today are taking. And it's just not going to yield better results, or very marginally better results, if your equipment is faulty. And so that's sort of what, instead of doing that, we took the approach of optimizing the DB, which was actually one thing that Professor Schultz identified and his team identified that was extremely important for I/O and throughput reasons. And then the VM itself was optimized, various different parts of the stack. And you could see if one part of your stack is lagging, just doing sort of window dressing on the other parts of your stack, if that's a bottleneck, it's the lowest common denominator thing in your stack, it's not going to allow you to scale. So we focused on optimizing in a non-parallel fashion everything about the EVM stack. And as a result, we've delivered probably the fastest production chain right now that is EVM compatible. And we haven't even, there's a lot of throughput that's occurring right now on the chain. We haven't even gone close to reaching our limits, and we have 100% uptime, which is not the case with the vast majority of fast and cheap chains these days.
Wow, 100% uptime. That's amazing. But I wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper here around a parallelization. So there's different options. Well, you're saying that the existing approach on the market, as you say, probably there are more cooks in the kitchen to do that, but what Mona here probably also, I think for previous examples, we see the parallelization is that they try to kind of identify the dependencies, right, among the transactions. And there are different approaches to do there, but basically the system and the consensus will can predict which transactions would be run in parallel and which are not. For example, the swaps, right, for different pools, and it has to be a linear transactions in that order. And so I'm not sure if this approach, as you see, is there's certain drawbacks, or how your approach is probably a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, parallelization is not it's obviously something that can improve performance, but it comes with complexity and overhead. And from what I understand, Professor Bernard Schultz mentioned was that you have to first improve the tools, like the stuff in the kit, like the stove and all these other things, and then potentially apply parallelization to the stack, and then you can eke out the benefits. But I think using the traditional sort of stack, I think what their tests yielded was a less than 30% performance bump compared to just sort of focusing on optimizing the rest of the stack and leaving parallelization for the future. So even our CTO, Andre Cronier, has mentioned that parallelization is something that can be looked into down the line, but really what's important to start off with is to optimize the DB and optimize the other pieces of the puzzle. So that's what we've focused on so far, and in the future, we're definitely going to look at what we can do with the new sort of technologies that are out there. But that's the approach we've taken so far. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then, I probably just do a little bit like introduction about like Monad. We're tackling the same kind of like scaling issues here as well. But yeah, we are kind of adopting the, I think at different layers of the stack, as Sek has mentioned. For example, we have the consensus, how you kind of like cut it off from the consensus with the like execution layer, leave it to just do the like agreement on what order that is, and the execution just do the like execution of transactions. And also I just mentioned there is this parallelization where we kind of identify the dependencies and make the prediction, and there is like optimistic execution there to make sure that we're fast enough. And for the execution, that's for the like execution, and also we think the same that the functional like DB need to be optimized as well. And then last night we just had our like public testnet out, and currently I think our gas limit is 150 million. That's kind of 10 times than the Ethereum right now, which is good. Translated into around like 5,000 like TPS. But we're experiencing some RPC issues. But yeah, I think it's going to be okay. Let's wait and see. And so. I think as we're talking about the like how much probably throughput or like how fast the TPS and stuff, I wanted to kind of discuss with the guests here like how this kind of like performance upgrade at this cycle, this time, as we're having like more, for example, like AI innovations coming into crypto that requires like high performance. And so in your chain, what is like a thesis or specifically use cases that you wanted to empower by your high performance technology? Let's start with Sek.
Really anything that requires high throughput. So for example, central limit order books. One thing that's really interesting is obviously gaming and things that require quick throughput and transaction times. There's a really cool game called Fate Adventure that's recently launched on Sonic. I think is really, really fun to play and really addicting, because the experience you get with a high throughput chain that's in production like Sonic is that you get a Web 2-like experience in the Web 3 universe, where the UX problem that's plagued crypto and blockchain for a very long time is now starting to disappear with chains like Sonic that are extremely fast and available for public use. And so I feel like it's super fast throughput allows for applications that could not have been possible with like 10-second finality or this kind of thing. It's like, I mentioned this in another talk, it's not that the applications themselves get faster, it's the space of applications that are possible increases as your time to finality goes down, as your throughput increases and all this kind of thing. So Sonic has single block finality, sub-second finality, and extremely fast throughput. We don't use numbers anymore, as in like, we used to say 10,000 TPS, 16,000 TPS. Like it doesn't matter. It's real time. Like it's if the experience for the user feels like Web 2, and if you're able to process all of DeFi that's occurring today and anything in the future on your chain, then what do the numbers matter? It's really what the experience is like. And sort of that's the approach you've taken, scaling the layer 1 as heavily as possible, rather than fragmenting across many layer 2s and this kind of thing. So.
I'm very aligned with Shaq's sharing about user experience optimization, because that's why we focus as well I feel that we already have enough money spending on high performance developments. There's tons of money in that infrastructure development, where our chain Viction focus on and user experience focus. That's why we spend a lot of money on how we designed it zero gas feature and actually get it apply in application that we're working with. For example, some application we think it's naturally good with this zero gas features. First of all, will be payment remittance with stable coins. The other thing would be gaming. So Viction is general purpose blockchain, right? But these two sector of finance and gaming just happen to be the adoption of these technology. So on Viction right now, we have a couple of on-ramp partners in different regions, working with different stablecoins, US dollar stablecoin, and also local currency stablecoin to adopt in these technologies. Where so you and nanny in Philippines, you receive your salary after you're done in Hong Kong, send money back to your family, right? Right now, they have to pay in Western Union, which, I don't know, 10% of their revenue. Imagine you spend $100 back home and you get cut $10, $30. That doesn't make sense to me. And we are actually applying this to those people living in another country, sending money back home without having to be cut at top of the head, just a fraction of the fee. And they don't even have to pay for it because the players, the supply chain provider, when they're paying for it, they can have on-ramp partner in Hong Kong to help them to on-ramp to stablecoin, and then get back to Philippines and off-ramp and then exchange there. Our network has been supported in most of the major on-ramp partners in South Asia, and we believe that's something I want to see in the user perspective.
This is really interesting. I wanted to ask, what is the adoption right now? Like, how many countries and like how many probably companies or merchants are adopting your technology to do that?
So we are working on different regions. We based in Vietnam, and we have a huge influence and adoption in South Asia. So Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, we all have partners working on this, already supporting infrastructure and working on the application, the projects. But we also have partners here in Hong Kong and Africa. Just so you know, so Nigerian, they're top 2 in the world adoption as well. So they're huge in Africa as well, and South Africa, Kenya as well, and also in Latin America. We're going on the infrastructure ready there. Because to us, I think the infrastructure and technology, the high performance technology are actually there. We don't have these gentlemen working on it. On us, we excel more on user onboarding, so that we double down more there. Yeah.
Got it. And to what extent? Because you mentioned there is a line for the money to get transferred from A to B, for example. And there are many players down the line. For example, you mentioned there's banks and there's exchanges, there's merchants, and then there's users. And to what extent have you kind of removed or shortened the time to that? Is how long does it take for a typical transaction, as you said, as salary payment, to how much time was decreased from your process?
Oh, so for example, if you do with Western Union, right, it takes a couple of days for settlement to actually your family actually get the money from you send from Hong Kong to Philippines, right? But with blockchain technologies, it's instant, right? Near instant. You just transfer to their wallet, their account in the exchange on-ramp partners in there, and then they got the money right away, and then it just off-ramp to the banks. Because for some context, right, some regions like South Asian, there are a lot of them go abroad to go a more developed country to work and become a foreign worker, right, and then they send for money and remittance. But in South Asia, some of the regions, they already have rest in terms of regulation in blockchain. And some of them have license exchange, allowing you to bank deposit directly to get to buy or to purchase Bitcoin or USDT, and vice versa to off-ramp right away. So that's really convenient for them to do so. That's the thing the way we tap into.
Got it. Thank you. What about Tay?
The biggest stack that we're currently building on top of Creditcoin is this project called SpaceCoin. It's a decentralized network of satellites to provide a permissionless internet to people. We deployed our first satellite December last year, and we're deploying 3 more. And the problem with processing internet transactions is in every second you have to process hundreds of packets per user, and it's very inefficient to charge them each time. So what we do is we create a credit line per user using our credit coin, which is what we started with, and then we using that credit, the value provider, which is the node satellites in this case, creates a merge transactions. So each transaction per packet, let's say it's 0.0001 cent of value, you accumulate until it makes sense to extract from the credit line the user currently have. So this way, we avoid having to process hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. And also for the stable coin transactions, we're using not only our own blockchain, but other blockchains that optimize for TPS for the transactions so that we don't have to scale the whole system for ourselves. So we have a philosophy of utilizing this technology where it makes sense. So GPU cannot replace CPU, and CPU cannot replace DRAM. We're basically using whatever blockchain that makes sense for that specific purpose.
Got it. Thank you. What about Laura?
I want to bring some ugly fact in this space about mass adoption of million users. And I can use 2 examples. One is RPC, one is fiat and on and off ramp. So before I joined Mega East, I spent 3 years in Consensus working global expansion. Consensus is a company, if you may know, behind MetaMask, Infura, and Linear. I work on the on and off ramp for MetaMask for business development. 2 years ago, MetaMask integrate PIX support as a payment method in top payment method in Brazil. 24 hours after we support that, the slippage for local currency to USDC just increased from 2% to 12%. And then a lot of people come to MetaMask and say, hey, what are you guys doing? You integrate the alternative payment method in the local market, ends up just bring us more friction, just because there are a lot of demand in the market. That's one example about what is the importance of infrastructure. Forgot about dApps, forgot about AI. Let's talk about infrastructure and tooling. So that's one example about fiat on and off ramp. Another example is about RPC. Infura has been users for more than 50% of the RPC request in the world. And at a certain level, Infura decided to decentralize itself. And then it is about relaying transaction to other node operators. In order to make that, we need to do press test. When we do the pressure test, we send the request as a part of the performance test to those node operators, and node operators say, hey, are you guys doing DOS attack to us? Reason is because you are sending me 4,000 RPS. And we were like the minimum requirement for any network for MetaMask, in order to make MetaMask functional and make Infura functional for any single network will be more than 10,000 RPS. That will be the minimum requirement for reliable RPC to achieve 4 nines in terms of SLA. So this is some ugly facts that, frankly speaking, no one has been seen as a dApp introducer today in this space. And you have been so eager to talk about mass adoption without thinking about what the reliable infrastructure means. At the end of the day, it is not only about how perform my network is. My CTO unpacked this in a very simple way, saying how perform my network is just simple as how powerful a MacBook is. But it's not about you got a super powerful MacBook. It is about the tooling you have in your MacBook can make the most high resolution video clips and so on. That make individual developers great again. So the reason I personally make my decision to join Mega East is because I realized there's a very unhealthy business environment for infrastructure and tooling in this space. There's no product differentiation. Everyone has been hired, a lot of people doing BD, doing sales, but they can't amplify how strong their product is, how strong their engineers is. The reason is because they can't introduce a product differentiation without a product differentiation on the network level. And that's why, for example, while working with Oracle, we only work with 2 to 3 service providers in the market because not every Oracle can do a price feed to 10 million block time, 10 million seconds block time. While we're working with a bundler doing smart transaction, not every bundler can make transaction simulation happen at million seconds level of block time. And that shows how powerful your engineers teams are.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree that when you look at the infrastructure, there is this, for example, like inner circle about how powerful your chain is. It's about the tech design, and probably at the outer cycle, you would have, for example, you mentioned RPC and stuff. That is the bottleneck. But I'm curious when you were saying that there is this like engineering like issues that need to be like tackled head on, like for the whole thing to work well. Do you mean that I heard some like infrastructure like service providers? So are you working with them to kind of work together to strengthen the like infrastructure standard for the like infrastructure, or you work on it yourself?
Work with partners.
Okay.
And that's actually why we want all the partners, all the tools and infra solution provider today in the market to co-build with us. We think with ultimately a high performance network era coming to, it may or may not be mega east, but the only way for tools and infra business to have a healthy environment is you need to start investing in product differentiation. Otherwise, you speak with the investors who will continue to say, hey, I'm no longer looking at tools and infra. I don't know how I can exit. But the problem is about you need to have or work together or co-build with the highest performance network to deliver the POC to the public and showcase how strong your team are.
Thank you. Yeah, and a little bit dive into the ecosystem landscape right now. Like, what are the projects that are grown out from like Mega ETH you like to introduce to us?
We actually have a few mafia projects. I can't name, all of them. We got more than 10 as of today. I think close to 20, but they're all listed on our website. And I'm not working on the ecosystem stuff, so I'm not the best person to talk about.
Got it. And I think as for Monad, it's the same like with the peers here as well. We're kind of exploring how on-chain order book can really happen, and we already have our Kuru product like on our testnet, and everyone you can just try it out. And also there is very interesting directions here that we observe. For example, if you look at like prediction market, and we saw that like on like a poly market where you just like play the game and you just play the bet there. But what if it is combined with games? And as Zach said, probably there is more like like AAA game, for example, it's like better user experiences, and you can have like more type of things that you can do. Like betting is one of them. So prediction market is something that will be emerging like at this time that from my observations in Monad. And I think which is very unique and native in the ecosystem. That's one thing. And the second is AI. And I think there are like multiple layers around like AI we can delve into. For example, like we see the individual agents happening, like for example on Solana or on Base, but what's the next step? So we're kind of expecting the like real performant agents that can, for example, handle like thousands of API calls for Shopify, right? That's really happening like from the Web2 world. But if combined with the Web3 crypto tokenomics and incentives, and it will probably take over. And so I think, and it's it's our like infrastructure to provide this kind of foundation for them to work well. Yeah, AI to AI, AI to human. Yeah, I think it's kind of how the like highly performant infrastructure can drive innovations.
I just want to really quickly touch on the UX thread that both you and Laura mentioned.
Yeah.
In reality, the user, like Laura said, doesn't care how powerful the machine is. They
Yeah.
care what their experience is, and even developers. So, for example, if you have a chain like Solana that claims to have very, very high TPS, that's great. But if it goes down and crashes every third week, and then you have a bald guy on Twitter doing damage control, it's, you know, like for the user, it's not a great experience. And then right now, for example, for Monad, the RPC is not working, so the users can't use the chain. So it's like Sonic is live in production, delivering on the promises of all these other chains. And I'd highly suggest using it. It's #1 gainer in CoinMarketCap and top 100 right now. And a lot of inflows coming in from Solana because of the whole Millet stuff. And we've had like 100 mil in TVL in the last week increase. Just the last few days, it's been millions that have come in. So yeah, I mean, we've delivered on the promises of all these high throughput, fast scalable chains. We're in production. Come use Sonic, soniclabs.com.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We'll need to work hard on the RPC issues and stuff, and I think we'll get there. And yeah, feel free to like try it out. It's really fun experience, our testnet. And then yeah, I think we're time out. But yeah, very happy to discuss the scaling issues with all of you here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.